Hi everyone! Welcome to my presentation for the fall of Blockbuster video, how rejection of culture shifts can upset the media distribution landscape. My name is Maggie Pendergrass. We're communicating mindfully, and this is our final paper and presentation. So to first walk through the abstract, established in the fall of 1985, Blockbuster LLC was the leading provider of media rental services by the mid-1990s. The media giant was forced to be reckoned with, revolutionizing the ways families would enjoy their weekend movie nights. From the newest movie releases to hit video games, a trip to Blockbuster was the highlight of every 90s kids' weekend. However, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Blockbuster was met with an increased demand for updated technology integrated with their decreasingly popular video services. Streaming services such as Netflix and rental kiosks such as Redbox challenged Blockbuster to adapt to the changing media landscape. And by the fall of 2010, they had filed for bankruptcy and had become an example to businesses for the future. Although their business systems were built on previous successes, and their inability to adapt to changing culture shifts ultimately led to the company's demise. In this presentation, we'll be walking through Blockbuster's case and cybernetic approaches to further understand the interaction between cultural and professional decision-making. With the understanding that business has to meet the needs of the customer to be successful, they changed the way video rentals would work. Companies who stay true to their business model and overall core values will normally succeed and breed a competitive but healthy business cycle. However, in this instance, Blockbuster's unwillingness to adapt to the changing culture and reliance of a business model that's, quote, always worked, end quote, is exactly what led to the company's demise. Next, we'll turn to the discussion of these communication ethics theories and how they interact with our case study. As Arnett, Fritz, and Bell explain, in communications ethics with companies and brands, quote, clarity of direction and the courage to pivot and change direction if and when necessary, end quote. The cybernetic approach in both meaning and action in relation to Blockbuster's once core narrative predominantly focuses on the divide between their meaning and the actions they took aligning with that meaning. Blockbuster's overall business model failed to focus on their long-term good instead of focusing on the short-term wins as they could get it. As Arnett, Fritz, and Bell explain, quote, there is no good for a company that can stand for all time. It is the ongoing testing of vitality, of direction, and the change that will define the long-term success of a given enterprise, end quote. In their attempts to remain both a leader in technology and a company that prided themselves on, quote, the ultimate customer experience in moviegoing, end quote, the company failed to connect with what their long-term successes depended on, their consumers. In Greenberg's book, From Betamax to Blockbuster, Video Stores and the Invention of Movies on Video, he explained Blockbuster's rise to prominence and its reliance on the public agreement of vitality within the company. Greenberg explains, quote, to put it bluntly, a given technological frame that is black boxed around an artifact is only seen as real and natural so long as everyone involved agrees that it is so, end quote. As the consumers grow to understand streamable media as, quote, the new normal, end quote, making the weekly trip to the nearest Blockbuster for a DVD seemed like a hassle. It is not focusing on their good or their meaning, as Littlejohn and Foss refer to it. They refuse to take action in saving their company. Littlejohn and Foss reference this, explaining that, quote, the cybernetic theory also recognizes that you do more than interpret and act. You must coordinate your action with those of others in a process of interaction, end quote. Without coordinating the overall good or meaning, Blockbuster negated their desire to interact with their consumers and focused intently on their new meaning, short-term successes. In understanding the ethical theories related to Blockbuster's downfall, we can provide recommendations on what potential resolution should have been and how it should have impacted the company's outcome. In the construct of public testing, as referred to Arnett, Fritz, and Bell, Blockbuster would have been able to analyze and successfully map their brand to fit the needs of their customers. Understanding the customer's needs is what led to their innovation as a company, so it would be assumed that it would also lead to their long-term success. As we've seen throughout the remainder of Blockbuster's fall from the top, we've seen the implications of not understanding, communicating, or responding to their consumers. By taking their company back to what Blockbuster's brand was established on, they would have reignited the brand trust that so many families identified with. Their rebrand or new direction would have established the company as a new leader in media distribution without ever letting the public know that they missed a step. The brand loyalty was already steadfast, they just had to capitalize on it. The implications financially of taking advantage of their technological innovation has been obvious. However, they would have also been able to convert their nightly or weekend fees into a subscription-based service. This would have provided a larger audience with a larger library, supporting the idea of public testing, and ultimately keeping a more loyal customer base. However, since they chose to focus on their services and failed to communicate the return and subsequent removal of their late fee policies repeatedly, they lost the trust and support of their consumer base. As the media landscape continues to grow and develop, the opportunities to further research the commitment to brand loyalty, the evolution of media distributors, and the overall scope of streamable media companies and their communication with publics is vast. The desire to connect with publics and create brand loyalty is ever present in today's society. In conclusion, companies have a responsibility to their publics to support the ongoing change in culture. Without the support and intentionality from the top down in these companies, the public loses trust and eventually chooses to support the companies that listen to the changing market. As Arnett, Bell, and Fritz refer, the good long-term success of a company is not just determined by the systems put in place at the initial launch, but the vitality is dependent on directional adaptation and willingness to change. Thank you guys for watching today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.